The fact that there's an extreme group who's clearly organized, most of them made up of Muslims and Palestinians who are organizing a lot of this. And I've spoken to students in Columbia, I just came back from the States, and they're the base organizers of all of this. So the reality is, I think this is a positive impact, and positive, anything have to be positive, but I think in terms of public opinion, it really was helped getting support for Israel. It's certainly moved the bill in Congress, the realization that it's real, it's needed, and of course the money they're giving does something useful in terms of a missile defense that actually works. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's $1 billion in there even for our laser defense system as part of this bill. So I think it really had an impact in terms of gaining support for Israel at the moment, realizing that Israel really does have enemies. I mean, all the scenes of the Palestinians and the terrible scenes that people see in America from Gaza on one side, but on the other side, Israel does have enemies, and Americans understand that and understood that from what happened over the weekend.
And so there's still almost this divide between a vocal minority, maybe in the general public, but the people who are calling the shots, whether that be President Biden, Congress, they unanimously seem to be standing behind Israel.
I'm not going to say almost unanimously. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party, if you look, there was an attempt to pass a vote that would be what's called a discharge, which forced Johnson to vote on the bill that was passed by the Senate. They didn't get enough votes quite yet. The Democrats, there were 12 Democrats who didn't vote in favor of, or hadn't signed up in favor of it, and those were the 12 most progressives, the ones who were basically anti-Israel in the Democratic Party. So those are not going to be moved by anything. Let's be realistic here. They're anti-Israel, deep and strong at this point. Their ranks are growing slowly, but not tremendously over the last 4 or 5 years. But look, we have to really worry. We have to worry about what's going on the campuses. We have to worry about, both the far right. I mean, Tucker Carlson turned against Israel this past week when he interviewed the Palestinian priest from Bethlehem, who had an awful lot to say about anti-Israel things. And then Tucker Carlson went on to a rant saying Israel is blowing up churches. And Tucker Carlson's always not exactly been a friend of the Jews, but this is the first time he really attacked Israel straight on. And in the conservative world, he was attacked this last couple of days. A lot of people who sort of were willing to accept some of his antics until now came out strongly against him in the last 2 or 3 days. But there is that growing group on the far right. And so we have the far right and the far left. And we better hope the center holds. That's more than anything else.